Welcome to the second official full-length Crystal Habit podcast. Thank you for tuning in. This show, we've got 2 segments for you, including a call with a special guest from one of our sister studios. And we also have a slightly longer Take 5 with Karl, where he's going to explain away some of the more pressing questions that we've been receiving via email or Twitter or Tumblr this past month. Make sure to stick around till the end of the show, though, because we have a special announcement, something we think a lot of you Tomb Raider fans are going to be excited about. So sit back and enjoy. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This time we're switching up things, and I'm having Karl on for the first segment to do our Take 5. So answering the most popular questions from the month, which I know Karl is always eager to do.
Oh, every single time you ask me to do these, I go gulp.
Because they are, usually the most frequent ones are also the toughest questions.
They're also the ones that I think we have to get out there. We have to make sure that people know that we're covering and we're not just
we're not avoiding them. And this makes my life easier because then I can just copy and paste the answers or direct people back to the podcast because, again, I get these questions quite frequently. So, starting off, a number of fans have asked about the decision to aim for a mature PEGI 18 rating. Why did Crystal come to the decision? And is there any chance for special versions that would remove blood and whatnot for younger fans?
Let me just say before you do that, you have the coolest collection of toys on your table ever.
I do. Are they distracting you?
Yeah, as I'm talking, I keep picking things up and playing with them, talking
He's
to
currently
each other.
playing with the Unicornosaurus.
From Kid Robot. That's fucking awesome.
From Kid Robot. All right, mature games.
Okay, so mature games. So, in the very early stages in concepting this reimagining of Tomb Raider and who Lara Croft is and trying to carve this new character, it became very evident in the early stages that what we were trying to communicate in this very visceral, very real world and the experiences that Lara would go through, that every single time we put her in a situation, we were toning it back down to make it fit in a T-rated world. And it kind of belittled all the things that we felt so important to delivering a new experience. So we obviously took a little time and did some soul searching, and we came to the realization very quickly that we had to move into the M-rated space. Oh, I nearly said T-rated. We had to move into the M-rated space because if we didn't, then you as a player would play the game and kind of feel like, oh, that feels very soft and very light, and I don't really feel it's believable, only because we couldn't push the believability of what she comes across. So it was a tough decision to make because obviously there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Outside of obviously the age of our players, there's also things such as the types of partners we can work with, the types of advertising and the times which we can advertise, working with ESRB and with PEGI to be able to restrict some of the communication tools. It is a big decision, and we really, really appreciate that. People are excited to see what we're going to deliver, but they also have to understand that we can't deliver a very immersive and visceral experience and deliver in a way in which we feel it needs to be if we were to stick inside of a T-rated space. So it was a bitter pill to swallow, but it was a big decision, and we believe we've made the right one.
And so no chances for these alternate or kind of diluted versions of the game?
I think once you've made that decision to sit in the camp of an M-rated game, you have to go in 100%. You can't look back and belittle it by going back in and making it a T. And I think, players would understand that. You can't say she says one thing and then all of a sudden you switch over to the tame version and she says another, because then it gets into the psyche of the character. You start carving 2 different types of Lara Croft, and that wouldn't work in the overall franchise either. So it has to be all or nothing.
The uniform vision. All right.
Exactly.
Second question, which is one of the more popular ones because this is a franchise pillar, I suppose. Will there be unlockable outfits in the game or just the one seen in the trailer? Which is a great costume, by the way. I like her costume in the trailer.
So before I answer that question, tell me who this little guy is.
That is an angry panda. Shoot, but it's modeled after Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Now I'm going to have to include images in the podcast so that people know what I'm talking about.
Every question you've got, I get to pick up a new item and talk about it beforehand.
We are going to be here for days.
Okay, so question again.
Will there be unlockable outfits?
Why does everybody keep asking me to give away all our secrets this early out? We've got loads of time to go, people and fans. We're still a year out, so I think the easiest thing to say and the one which I stick by is that, of course, Tomb Raider over the years has been known for unlockables and known for things that you could do beyond just playing the core game. And that we take that to heart. And the exact same with all the items and all the things that Lara is and who she used to be. And that, watch this space. We love unlockables and we love items as much as you do. So I'm not going to give away whether that's a yes or a no or how much or how little. Just
It's a worth thinking about it.
Yeah, and we're still so far out that we can make that decision. It's not something that I have to make in the next week with the team. We've already got a ton of ideas on the table, and once we get the game locked and we're happy with making sure that the experience is right all the way through, then we'll get into the cool, fun little aspects.
Awesome. All right. Why did Crystal decide to partner up with Beats by Dre Spec and use a modern-looking phone in the trailer? Should we expect product partnerships to continue throughout the game?
So what I'd say about those products is that from the very early days when I started concepting out the trailer with the team, I really wanted to make sure that we positioned the trailer in modern day, and it did more than just kind of come across as product placement. I'm not big into just putting stuff in for the sake of it being in there. I don't like doing deals with people just to say, oh, we get X amount of money if you put our product in. Everything we do has to make perfect sense with the character and the world. So for me in the early stages, it was trying to find items that would help ground who she is, the time that she's in, tell you a little bit about her that you may not have gotten in the past. And, it's like, I always say, you pick up somebody's iPhone or their iPod and you press play on the first few songs that they've been listening to. You get to see a little bit more or hear a little bit more about that person. You start to build up a personality and, understand them in a way in which you don't get from just having a conversation with them. So for us, it was like, you put something like the earphones in, they stand for something. That's earphones of today, right? They're hugely popular, and we don't pay them. They don't pay us. That was just a mutual, it fit the character that we're creating, and it was something that we believed Lara would have, so therefore it was in. Lara has an iPhone, and to me it was, Spec's a huge company. It's one that's easily accessible around the world, so we're not creating partnerships or opportunities and we put something in which is just the most random thing that nobody could ever get their hands on, and it wouldn't communicate well. So for me it's about, helping set the foundation of the character in the world. And then for longer term partnerships, of course, Tomb Raider has been around 15 years plus, and it's had many partnerships with many different companies, and I've kind of tailored a lot of them and pulled them all back, and sort of made decisions not to continue with some of them because they don't sort of stand up or live beside the brand and the franchise that we have a vision for over the next 5 to 10 years. So some partnerships will not continue, but then there's partnerships that make perfect sense. So over the course of the campaign you will see some. I can't go into details on what they are, but let's just say that we're transfixed on trying to make sure that every single thing that we do and every single partner that we have fits within the world of the game. And it's not done just for the sake of a dollar crossing hand to hand.
I'm going to throw a curveball question in here because we're talking about her phone. And this is more for the fans to lay this to rest. The song playing on her phone is not a licensed song from the trailer, correct? That was just something we whipped up.
That was just something that Alex made up.
Yeah, people were trying really
guy.
hard to figure out what that music was, and just to make it a little bit easier on everyone, that was just an original clip whipped up for the trailer.
Yeah, Alex just sat there with a couple of different synthesizer sounds and whipped up a cool little thing, because he's got a bloody master's in audio design, so it doesn't take him that long to be able to put something like that together.
All right.
But you never know. We might put that out as a special track someday. If people want to hear it, we'll get Alex to compose the entire thing. I can just imagine him sitting there going in his office going,
dance party. All right, number 4.
That was my best party boy from Jackass. I'm not going to rip my trousers off. It's okay.
All right, number 4. Will Lara talk to herself throughout the entire game? If so, how do you balance her narration with a sense of isolation?
Yeah, she's schizophrenic. She's like me. She answers herself as well.
Newsflash.
No. So again, we're so far out from launch of the game, and unfortunately when you try and reposition or reimagine this new vision, you have to go through such a strong character arc. She's, as we keep saying, 21 years of age, straight out of college, gets in this situation. Of course, just like anybody, you'd be afraid, you'd be alone, you'd probably talk to yourself for hours on end just to keep your sanity. But as we go through the game, our goal is that you see this huge character arc, somebody growing stronger every day. Every experience makes her sort of go that little bit further to becoming the Lara Croft that we all want her to be and become. So in the early stages, yes, what you've seen is her, obviously moaning or talking to herself, but but that will not continue. And obviously the decision of what she says and when she says it is worked out between, from the creative director Noah to our narrative designer internally and through a scriptwriter who in brackets will remain unnamed, close brackets. And, it's a very serious thing for us because obviously we don't want players an hour or two in to be like, oh, come on, get over it. She's going to have to grow pretty quickly because otherwise she'll just be killed. So we will see her change drastically in a very short period of time. But as I said, by the end of the game, I want people to sit back and go, that's the Lara Croft that we know. That's the girl that we want to control. And I just realized is you just jumped ahead a question. I didn't even get to talk about the next toy. So who's this glamorous little girl, Medusa?
That is
looking?
Medusa by Eric Scarecrow. I know both the name and the artist for that one.
Oh, this is pretty cool.
Isn't
She's
it?
got huge
She's got
boots.
a snake coming out of her shoe and her hair.
Yeah, and her hair is a Medusa.
Is he trying to avoid these questions? Is that what's going on? Because the last one scary? No, the last one is not that scary. You ready?
Okay, go for it.
Will the camera be unique from past games in the upcoming Tomb Raider? If so, how?
Yes, the camera will be unique to past Tomb Raider games because we realized that in some ways the camera, well, not that it wasn't, but it always felt broken. It felt it was a hard thing to control. Let's say I won't get into too bad because we were very, very happy with the games that we shipped. But what we did learn was that we needed to create a whole new camera and a whole new experience and a way to be able to kind of immerse the player into that experience, feeling each different tone. So what I mean by that is, an example is just here going through the tunnel. Obviously, it's claustrophobic. You can't do that with a 10-foot camera off the back of her shoulder. You need to be up close. You need to feel personal. You need to hear her in your speakers, kind of, whinging or afraid, or when the water splashes around. And you have to have that intimacy. So the camera has to be really up close beside her face, so you can see what she's seeing. And then when you get to things like where she's going to be in combat, of course, you have to be able to pull the camera back to allow the player to be able to see more around them, to be able to evaluate the situation she's in. And then the same when she's climbing, or moving around dynamic traversal. The camera has to be close enough to be able to feel that you're in that space with her. So for us, what we class it is a dynamic camera, and we've brought on a whole team specifically just to be able to make sure that experience is unique and different. And when I say it's different, as we get through the rest of the campaign next year, you'll start to see some really bold and innovative ways of being able to show how we've tailored the camera for each individual experience. It really is phenomenal. It really, really is. We're delighted with the camera team who are on board right now.
That's probably one of the more exciting bits.
Okay, you're not getting away with it. Who's this little guy?
That I don't know. I think it's from like a company called Robotech or something.
Okay,
They're in. I got it in Japan, and it's a little pink bunny with a microphone and a mug of icy cold foamy beer.
Oh, he's my buddy.
I think he's like a karaoke fan.
Karaoke bunny with beer. I love it. And from Japan, which is the best place in the world to do karaoke because everybody thinks you're a rock star.
I have yet to do karaoke in Japan.
It is
I've
funny.
been afraid. Actually, I've yet to do karaoke anywhere because I don't sing.
I have the funniest story ever is a good friend of mine, Morten Larson, from Funcom, the VP of marketing. The two of us got a little bit drunk in ye old English pub in Santa Monica at E3 about 5 or 6 years ago, and probably 4 or 5 years ago. And we went into this bar, karaoke was on, and Morton decided to say, okay, let's place a bet. If I do a song, you do a song, but we each have to pick each other's songs. So I said, okay. So we flipped a coin and I lost. And I went first. And he had me sing Madonna Like a Virgin. And somebody recorded it and put it on YouTube within 10 minutes. And I had to ask them politely to take it down or break both their knees.
So it's not up there anymore if I wanted to search for it?
No, it is gone.
Damn
Man,
it.
please don't find that. Tell me.
You put the story out there, some internet sleuth is going to find it somewhere.
Well, if he does, that'd be great because I'd love to see it a second time. And then Morton, I had him sing "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," but
those two complement each other.
They were absolutely
nicely.
perfect. Only he went whole hog straight in and did a really good job of singing his, and I was somewhat embarrassed.
And that didn't end up on
to
YouTube?
be singing. No, nobody recorded him. It was a person from Funcom who recorded it and put it up. So obviously they were afraid to get on the bad side of Morton.
Funny. All right. Well, thank you for answering our reader questions. And hang in there, everyone else. We actually are going to jet right into our second segment, which features a special guest from Eidos Montreal. And Karl will be sticking around for that.
Excellent. I'm excited. Thank you all.
Thank you.